See.
Members, it's the appointed time. We have a quorum. I call to order the meeting. The meeting today is scheduled to end at 5:30 p.m. If need be, I will extend the meeting by a maximum of 15 minutes. I remind members, if you have any direct or indirect pecuniary interest in the items we discussed today, please disclose the nature of the relevant interest in accordance with Rule 83A of the Rules of Procedure, ROP. Please also note Rule 84 of the ROP in regard to voting in case of direct pecuniary interest. We are dealing with 3 items today. First item, FCR 2024-2543. Members are invited to approve the proposal in EC 2024-25-5, which was discussed by the ESC on the 11th of December 2024, in relation to the creation of a one-time limited supernumerary position at Administrative Officer Staff Grade C D2 with effect from the 1st of April 2025 or with immediate effect upon approval of the Finance Committee, whichever is the later, up to the 31st of March 2028, to lead the operation of the dedicated team on subdivided units to implement the proposed regulatory regime on basic housing units. According to paragraph 3A of the Finance Committee procedure, since the ESC does not recommend further discussion of this item and no more than 3 members jointly requested further discussion of it in the Finance Committee, we will not further discuss this item as per the recommendation of the ESC. I now put FCR 2024-2543 to a vote. Dr. Tekshi Yun claim a division. The bell will ring for 5 minutes. 邊個嚟？
好多人唔喺度啊！
哦，係啊，各省市嘅政協會開始。會議室一嘅會議即將進行點決。會議室一嘅會議即將進行點決。會議室一嘅會議即將進行點決。會議室一嘅會議即將進行點決。All right, before I announce the results, please check your votes. The results of the vote will show 71 present, 65 in favor, 1 against, 4 abstain. I declare the motion passed. The second item, FCR 2024-25-44. Members are invited to approve the proposal in EC 2024-25-6, which was discussed by the ESC on the 11th of December 2024 in relation to the retention of a time-limited supernumerary position in the Civil Aviation Department with effect from the 1st of April 2025 or with immediate effect upon approval of the Finance Committee, whichever is later, up to the 31st of March 2027. This position is an AO Staff Grade B position. It is responsible for taking forward a number of initiatives, including the policy initiative to enhance our status as the international aviation hub in relation to the 3 runway systems, supporting the development of low-altitude economy, as well as enhancing the overall administrative governance of the CAD. As with the last item, the Finance Committee will not further discuss this item as per the recommendation of the ESC. Dr. Tik Chi Yun claims a division. The bell will ring for 5 minutes.
好，請
Please vote. Before I announce the results, please check your vote. Stop voting right now. 71 present, 65 in favor, 1 against, 4 abstain. I declare this motion passed. Now we deal with the third item, FCR 2024-2545. Members are invited to approve a commitment of $55 million to procure 3 sets of phased array weather radar system power system to constitute a power network covering the entire territory of Hong Kong. The panel on environmental affairs was consulted on the 28th of October 2024. We have with us Ms. Wong, Undersecretary on the Environment and Ecology Bureau, Mrs. Dorothy Ma, Principal Assistant Secretary, Dr. Chen Pak-wai, Director of the Hong Kong Observatory, Mr. Chen Sai-tik, Assistant Director, and Mr. Chen Yinghua, Senior Scientific Officer. I now ask Mr. Edward Lau, Chairman of the Panel on Environmental Affairs, to report to us. Thank you, Chairman. At the meeting on the 28th of October 2024, the Panel on Environmental Affairs discussed the funding proposal for the implementation of a phased array weather radar system network in Hong Kong. Members in general supported the proposal and urged the administration to streamline tendering procedures to advance the commissioning of the radar. The panel asked that the administration should add terms relating to safeguarding national security in the tendering exercise and ensure the format of the data collected and generated by the new radar and its equipment is compatible with that of the ports network in the Guangdong province. Members also suggested that the administration should explain more to the public as to the effect of the new radar on improving meteorological services. As per the panel's request, the administration has provided supplementary information to explain whether the new radar would restrict the use of adjacent land and whether the meteorological monitoring stations would impact on the development of the northern metropolis. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. I see that 11 members of the committee have indicated that they would like to speak. They are Mr. Lam, Madam Yong, and Madam Yip, Mr. Chan Kim Pong, Madam Kan Wai Man, Mr. Yang Kin Wan, Mr. James Ten, and Mr. Luk Hon Man and Mr. Luk Chong Yuan. The first one first, Mr. Lam. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think people on the street might not understand the technicality of weather radar, except for the meteorological buffs. But when it comes to the phased array radar, of course, I'm also someone that is among the common folks. And I just want to know what kind of conveniences it will bring. 2 years ago, we have encountered a very extreme weather situation, and there was huge downpour causing huge floods. I just want to know if in future we encounter the same situation and if we do have the capability to forecast the volume of rainfall so that people can get ample warning in order to move stuff around and to reduce losses. If that could indeed happen, I think this is a worthy investment, but I don't know whether this can be achieved. And I also noticed that the RO app or the Hong Kong O app actually has certain functions. It can indicate the rainfall in the coming 2 hours and also warning for incoming huge downpour. I'd like to know whether the phased array radar system is going to make this even better or even additional functions can be added. So this is my second question. Your paper also says that there is a cooperative meeting among Guangdong province and Hong Kong and Macau on meteorological affairs. If indeed we do not convert to this system, or if we were to go for cheaper options, does it mean that we wouldn't be able to meet the requirements laid down under the Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau meteorological agreement? And also, if indeed we convert to this system, say between Hong Kong and the Greater Bay Area, or between Hong Kong and Shenzhen, whether certain alert systems can be further fine-tuned and can be further optimized. And some time ago, Shenzhen actually released is floodgate in order to release flood water. And so that required a lot of coordination between Shenzhen and Hong Kong. And so with this phase array system, is it possible for even earlier warning be given or even earlier notice be given between the two places? If indeed we can more accurately predict the volume of rainfall, then we should take advantage of that and to share information even more effectively between the two places, because right now many Hong Kong people go upward to Shenzhen in order to enjoy themselves. And if they were to be able to know that in the coming 2 hours there'll be heavy downpour in either of the places, then it would give them a lot of convenience. Actually, points 1 and 3 have to do with policies, but we are now primarily concerned with financial implications. But at the initial stage, I think it's all right for you to also explain policy issues. But after that, I think we should focus on financial matters. Over to you, Secretary. So this is my response to the 3 points, and the director can further supplement me if she wants. First of all, concerning the phase weather radar system, our paper says that within 1 minute, it can scan the weather 68 times on a 3-dimensional basis. And it is especially suited for rapidly changing weather conditions, such as rapidly changing rainfall pattern, and also microbursts and so on and so forth. And also it can more accurately allow us to predict very heavy thunderstorm or gusty winds, and so on and so forth. And as for regional cooperation and coordination, the paper also says that you have to understand that the China Meteorological Ministry in 2022 has already released the document concerning the Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau regions meteorological development in the years up to the 2030s. And the major task is for the GBA to develop a smart system, which is based on the setting up of a phase array radar prediction system. And the Guangdong province has already installed 40 such sets. But there is still a shortfall on the Hong Kong side. And so we are seeking to install these 3 sets, coupled with the existing 1 set. It would really enable us to create synergy between us and the Guangdong province in terms of a meteorological forecast. And as for the exchange of information among the 3 regions, indeed, we are already doing that. And just now you mentioned the release of floodwater from Shenzhen. Actually, apart from predicting heavy rainfall, we also exchange information on the release of floodwater. As for further specifics, I think I can leave it to the director. Is it possible for us to achieve the same effect with a cheaper system? Okay, let's hand the floor over to Mr. Chen, the director of Hong Kong O. Basically, we have to be on par with one another in order to create synergy in our network. In order to create the optimal radar surveillance system. And so we are now going for the most suitable and most cost-effective option. So this recommendation is based on our conclusion that this is the most cost-effective and optimal system. Next one. So the financial implication is $55 million for 3 sets of phase array radar system. And I do understand that these radars can cover all of Hong Kong and also can optimize our coordination with Guangdong province and Macau. But just now, the director says that if we were to opt for a different system or a cheaper system, we would not be able to cover all of Hong Kong and cannot coordinate effectively with the rest of GBA. And in your coordination meeting with Guangdong Province and Macau, of course, emphasis is being put on integrating Hong Kong into the weather surveillance system. But of the $55 million, it seems that no provision has been made for relevant researchers. The paper says that the system can also benefit low altitude vehicles, such as drones and unmanned aerial vehicles for operating in low altitude zones. I think it will require certain research that will cost money. And if indeed such research is required, where can you get the money? And also concerning testing of the text is to be subject to a $5 million provision. And so I just want to know whether $55 million is enough if we also would like to cover researchers. Is it enough for us to enable us to do effective research in order to better coordinate with Guangdong Province and Macau? Is it going to be included in the $55 million? The $55 million is for the 3 sets of radar. Apart from data generated by the radars, the exchange of information will also benefit from the $55 million provision. And also concerning the development of low-altitude economy, this will also benefit from the 3 radar sets. And as for the low-altitude flying operations, the safety of such operations really is dependent on accurate prediction of weather. And the phased array radar can scan low altitude regions as low as several hundred meters. And so they can really enable drones and other low altitude flying vehicles to fly and operate more safely in the low altitude regions. And so that can ensure low altitude flying safety, and also it can really promote low altitude economies development. And so that's one of the benefits from phased array radar. But of course, apart from meteorological benefits, there are other tasks that we need to undertake, such as the development of low altitude flying regions. And Hong Kong O definitely will have to dovetail its work with this line of duties. My next question is this. So you are trying to promote low altitude economy, or you are trying to promote the drones flight, because right now we have a lot of shows being performed by drones, and so the applications are going to be wide. And so after you collect the data, how are you going to demonstrate to members of public as to the weather data that is being generated in a way that they can comprehend, so that it will be useful for members of public in terms of the presentation of data? Okay, let's leave it to the Hong Kong O. At the EA panel's meeting, we already mentioned that after the phased array radars are online, the data generated will be distributed through our existing networks, such as our websites and so on and so forth, with higher resolution and more frequent updating and more rapid updating, so that members of the public as well as relevant industries can benefit from them in a comprehensible manner. Madam Regina Yip, I'd like to ask about paragraph 7 of the paper. The government is going to go to a tender exercise for the procurement of the 3 radar sets. I do not have the technical expertise on this. I just want to know which countries produce the most advanced products in this category, and whether you are going to procure products that can really converge with the products that are currently being used by other areas of GBA. We already have accumulated experience with our radar set in Shalawon, and also we have done market research. Now, these are very advanced radars on advanced technologies, and they are primarily used for a weather forecast. The suppliers of phased array radars are primarily from mainland China. By the end of 2024, we have discovered that 5 suppliers from the mainland can meet the specifications to provide products for us in order to meet our procurement plan. And so we have already assessed the situation. Of course, such technologies are present overseas as well. And we have done market research. And the information that we collected is that many of these radars actually are produced on the mainland. I'd like to know whether Taimoshan as well as Taiscan radar sets will also be converting to the phased array systems. Indeed, the 4 phased array radars will be placed at these 4 locations, and they are at a lower altitude than Taimoshan and Taiscan radar sets, and so they can scan lower regions. And for the Taimoshan radar is at 680 meters, and for Taiscan is at 588 meters, and they are serving different purposes. The phased array radar can adapt themselves to rapid radar changes, such as the development of rainstorm. But for the Taimoshan and Taiscan systems, they are long-distance and long-range sets, and they are primarily for the forecast on tropical cyclones. The 4 phased array radar systems, they can cover 60 miles in terms of range, but for the Taimoshan and Taiscan systems, they cover 500 miles in range, and so they are serving different purposes. But of course, the 2 systems can dovetail with each other so that we can provide data for use by the industry.
Thank you. It's the 10th of January today. Why do we have to wait until June for the tendering exercise given the fact that these facilities are so great? Well, this question has been asked many times during panel meetings. We understand concerns of members. Members want to commission these systems faster. We also want to quicken the pace. After the approval of the funding, the Hong Kong O and the relevant departments will complete the preparatory work as soon as possible, including the installation and the structural assessment of the radar system, installation projects, as well as other terms and conditions to be incorporated into the tendering contracts. In relation to Laofaoshan, the Hong Kong O has submitted a planning application which is being considered by the Town Planning Board. We hope to finish this process as soon as possible. Upon the completion of this process, we'll then confirm the details in the tender documents. There will also be national security requirements alongside other guarantee measures. Afterwards, we'll start the tendering exercise. It's January today. We hope to complete all these duties in the coming few months. According to the WTO government procurement guidelines, we need at least 40 days. So the tendering period is around 6 weeks. We hope to finish awarding the contract within 2025. This timeline is actually quite aggressive. Thank you. Next, Mr. Chen Qingpo. Due to global warming, there will be more frequent extreme weather. The Hong Kong O needs to keep the gate in order to provide most up-to-date information to the public. The government then can provide information and ensure the safety of the public. In Shenzhen and Guangdong province, there are a total of 40 weather radar systems. So we can achieve connection and information sharing with our neighboring regions. I support this item. In general, what is the lifespan of these weather radar systems? How many more systems do you forecast you will purchase in the future? US, regarding the lifespan, at least 15 years. According to our dialogue with the mainland, together with the existing 4 systems, we can close the gap at present. We'll keep a close watch on the situation and will make decisions in the future if need be. Thank you. Next, Mr. Dennis Leung. Thank you, Deputy Chair. Recently, there have been extreme weather events. I support the Hong Kong O's proposal to update and upgrade its systems in order to disseminate meteorological information so that the public as well as other government departments will have the most up-to-date information in order to reduce the number of accidents and guard against these events. In the mainland, there are a total of 40 such systems. Our numbers pale in great comparison. Can you tell us more about these stations in the mainland? What was the construction cost for their systems? For the 3 weather radar systems, they cost $35 million. Is it true that they are much more expensive when we buy them in Hong Kong? Are they much cheaper in the mainland? Can you tell us more about this? The financial arrangements are in relation to the works of the installation of the network. We want to be able to use information from the mainland, vice versa. So will we be working in separate silos? Will we be conducting analyses on our own? Will there be any synergetic effect in order to bring down the costs? The paper is silent on this area. The paper is also silent on what the public will benefit from the system. How will the public better access information about weather? We need to revamp the system in order to better disseminate information. The paper is silent on this area. Thank you, Deputy Chair. First, comparison of costs between the mainland and Hong Kong, as well as the use of the system. Thank you. Regarding the costs between Hong Kong and the mainland, we mentioned with this system we can plug the gap. Regarding the synergetic effect, I will give the floor to the director in a moment. In relation to the benefits that the public will enjoy, as we mentioned in the paper, the public will benefit from the ports network in Hong Kong. As the director mentioned, there will be rainstorm warning, more accurate weather information, and so on. The public will be able to access such information. It will also be greatly conducive to the development of low-altitude economy in Hong Kong. Let me give you a handful of examples. For sandbox programs, the government invites interested parties to make applications. These programs require meteorological information for the smooth operation of their projects and systems. The Environment and Ecology Bureau, as well as its departments, apply weather information very often. Say the Environmental Protection Department, the operation of landfills, coastline, conservation work, and country park management of the AFCD, and so on. These are the examples I can give you right now. These services will benefit the public as well. I'll give the floor to the director. Director, thank you, Deputy Chair. In relation to the costs of the system, this is an open tender. As the Undersecretary said, at the end of last year, we conducted a market research. At least a few mainland companies met the technical specification requirements. Outside the mainland China, there are other suppliers as well. So we foresee there will be keen competition in relation to the tendering exercise. They will have to meet technical specification requirements, cost effectiveness, and so on. In relation to synergetic effect, we exchange information with mainland China on a frequent basis. For information provided by the mainland to Hong Kong, we'll monitor the weather radar system in the mainland. Then, we'll monitor the involvement of weather in Hong Kong. After we acquire this system, the mainland will also be able to make better preparation when they have access to weather information in Hong Kong. So we provide mutual support. Mr. Dennis Leung, have the Hong Kong O and the EEB asked the mainland about the installation costs? We need to have a good understanding of the costs. Well, Director, please be brief. Thank you, Deputy Chair. The weather radar system wasn't in mass production when the mainland China purchased it. Now we have much more such systems. And in mainland China, there's mass production. So we foresee that the costs will be lower comparing with that in the past. Thank you, Deputy Chair. Ms. Kamen Khan. Thank you. I support this funding proposal. We need to guard against weather changes. The ports network will enhance efficiency in relation to the forecasting and warning services in relation to tornadoes, water sprouts, and so on. The tendering exercise is close to my heart. Like the questions asked by Mr. Dennis Leung, we already have a system in Shala 1, and we are already exchanging data with the Guangdong Meteorological Service, GMS. Has the cost been considered? The 3 additional sets of ports totaled $35 million. How did you come up with this figure? Now that we have a few suppliers meeting the requirements, there will be price competition. We'll have to exchange information with the GMS. So we need to make sure the figures as well as specifications are compatible with those on the mainland. After taking into account several factors, I share some concerns with Mrs. Regina Ip. The process will start in June. Why will the contract be awarded only in December? In order to better accurate rainstorm, wind shears, do we need to wait until June 2027? On price comparison as well as technical specification, I'll take the question in relation to time. Then the director can supplement in relation to costs. Just now, I already explained the tendering exercise process. We would like to award the contract within 2025. While determining the timetable, we have conducted a market research. We had an idea of the timeline of building a system, of the port system. Usually, suppliers need 1 year to produce the port system. After delivery, we'll have to put the system to test. Afterwards, they will be commissioned. So we have already factored in these factors. I'd like to give the floor to the Hong Kong O. Well, Deputy Chair, I'd like to ask the Undersecretary in relation to time. In relation to the awarding of contract, we have to wait until December 2025. It's just January today. The public will have to wait until June 2027 before they can enjoy the services provided by the three-port system. Can you compress the timeline? Undersecretary, the possibility of expediting the work? Yes, we understand members' concerns. We do want to quicken the pace as well, but we'll have to go through procedures where it is allowed. We'll try to quicken our pace. On price comparisons between the mainland and Hong Kong, Director, do you have anything else to add? Thank you, Deputy Chair. In relation to costs, we've drawn reference from the construction and installation costs of the one in Shalom 1. We took into account that cost as well as the price survey conducted in December 2024. That's how we came up with the commitment we're asking for. In relation to information compatibility, as long as the format is compatible and the technologies are similar, using the same frequency, then we'll be able to exchange information. We attach a lot of importance to interfacing, and we will also make it clear in the tendering document. In relation to compressing the timeline for the tendering exercise, I believe the FSTB is also concerned about it. The FSTB oversees procurement processes. These are also concerns of society. We do need to compress the timetable. Administration PAS, and a reply? Thank you, Deputy Chair. Thank you, Ms. Carmen Khan. I'm the chairperson of the Central Tendering Committee. I will make sure, after receiving the tender, the committee will award the contract as soon as possible. Of course, we will need the assistance of the Bureau in relation to the preparatory work.
Mr. Yang Wing-Kit, I am also in support of providing the $55 million to purchase the 3 radar sets so that we can be more accurate in predicting the weather. My concern is about the fact that the phase array radar system is a very sensitive technology. I just want to know, where are you going to source the radar sets? Of course, mention is being made that national security provisions will be entered into the tendering process, but overseas countries can also do the same, and they can, through the back door, gain access to such sensitive technology. I think because we are talking about sensitive technologies, we really need to source them from the mainland. That doesn't mean, however, that there will be no competition, because there are more than one suppliers from the mainland for such radar sets. And so, for the sake of national security, I think it is quite important that we source them from our motherland. Maybe if you only consider the price issue, then there could be a scenario where the USA could supply a set to you for free. And so you have to consider the national security angle. And as for the staff cost of $4 million in order to develop personnel to develop the software, why do we need to spend $4 million for that? Because the mainland is already using the same technology. Why can't we simply procure the same software? I think if it's a direct procurement, it's going to be cheaper. Another question is, we already have one set that is in operation, which will be similar to the 3 radar sets in question. Why can't we use the existing software? Why do we need to develop a new software? Even though $4 million is not an especially large sum, but still, if we can save, that we should. About the sensitive technology and how can we safeguard national security, I think Hong Kong O is going to chime in on the $4 million for software development staff costs. First of all, when we go to open tender, The tender document will feature national security provisions to make sure that there will be no compromise possible for national security. And we already mentioned that by the end of 2024, we already ran a market research, and over 5 mainland Chinese suppliers have shown that they met our technical specs for the phased array radar system. And all of them are from the mainland. Of course, individual overseas suppliers can also meet the technical specs. When we do the tender exercise, indeed, we'll give attention to the importance of national security. We will make sure that the procurement of these phased array radar systems will not compromise national security. Hong Kong O, concerning $4 million for software development, we are seeking to engage one expert for software development to work on this for 5 years. So why do we need such a person to develop this for 5 years? The reason is that if we were to resort to existing softwares that are already being used on the mainland, of course, we could transplant them over to Hong Kong, but still we cannot address the issue that we are talking about Hong Kong weather forecast radars, and they have to be able to tailor themselves to the unique weather conditions in Hong Kong. And so there is a need for our radar systems to be localized for our localized needs. And also there is a need for such data to be incorporated into our websites and also for smartphone apps. And these apps and also our websites are unique to Hong Kong O, and they are not present in the mainland system. And so we need our own localized system. Now, Charleroi is already using existing technology or similar products. So what's the difference between the software being used there and the new software that needs to be used for the 3 radar systems? Now, for the forecast of cyclones or tornadoes and so on and so forth, you are already forecasting them. I'd like to know, after the 3 radar systems are in place and the new software is in place, what kind of new functions you are going to put onto your display system for use by members of the public? Now, if you cannot specify exactly what new functions can be added to the existing portfolio, then I don't think this is especially worthwhile. You are talking about iPhone, smartphones. You know that they could feature backdoor tapping devices that could compromise national security. And even though the suppliers might be very willing to sign any national security documents. And so my biggest concern is whether whatever products that you procure, they will not feature any backdoor tapping devices that could compromise national security. And that is why I heavily advocate that we should use mainland products. Indeed, we have heard you. We're going to take it back to the Bureau for further internal deliberation. Mr. Johnny Ng, indeed, this is a worthwhile project, and the benefits are all too clear. As specified very clearly in the paper, we can more accurately predict extreme weather. I'd like to know whether you have quantified benefits that members of the public can enjoy, and what kind of savings you can effect. How much are those savings? And paper also says that this is going to come online in 2027. In the first 5 years, the maintenance cost will be $900,000 for electricity maintenance and network maintenance and so on and so forth. And then after 5 years, the 3-year period following would see higher maintenance costs, $1.8 million. Is it because more items will be added in the 3-year period? And also, what is going to be the lifespan for this system, and how long can they be used for, in other words? And the paper also says that this is beneficial to low altitude economies development. So far, we've been talking about prediction of weather conditions at low altitude. During National Day celebrations, we have had drone shows being cancelled because of very last-minute weather changes such as solar storm and also thunder flashes and so on and so forth. I just like to know how these new radars can prevent that from happening. Now, I think for the lifespan of the system, it seems that an answer has already been provided. That is 15 years. And also whether it can effectively support low-altitude economy. Can it more enable us to more accurately predict the weather so that we don't have to cancel future drone shows because of extreme weather conditions at the last minute? Hong Kong O. I just want to emphasize that this is going to be a new service. And at the end of it, this is to really ensure public safety. And so this is a new set of equipment. And it doesn't save any existing equipment because this is not replacement of existing equipment, but addition of new equipment. As for recurrent expenditures increase, it's because after the first 5 years, certain parts of the system will become aged and they need to be replaced so that they can fulfill their original lifespan of 15 years. As for the drones shows, concerning the ionophoric interference, indeed, the phase array radar is not going to do anything to predict ionophoric interference, but definitely it will help in predicting low altitude rainfall. Mr. Tian, at the EA panel meeting last month, I already said that heavy rainfall as well as a blockage of pipes and drains can easily cause flooding. And Hong Kong O, therefore, is urged to divide Hong Kong into over a dozen regions so that they can focus more on more flood-prone regions and they can give ample warning to members of the public so that they can avoid such flood-prone areas. And the Hong Kong O's answer was that they were working towards that goal. But now you are seeking $55 million. The EA panel was first being given notice of this project in October. And you are now proposing that Hong Kong is to be divided into several dozen regions. I'd like to know whether that proposal was based on the fact that they could only be done with the addition of these 3 radar sets. Is that the case? If not, then division of Hong Kong into much smaller parts or much smaller parcels for more accurate warning of rainfall and flooding. Can that be done even without the 3 radar systems? Can you have that kind of pinpoint precision even without the radar systems? Hong Kong O. Now, concerning dividing Hong Kong into smaller and more precise parcels for more accurate and more accurate warning of rainfall and flooding. Indeed, this is the goal that we're working towards. We already have existing radars that can, to a certain extent, achieve such a goal. However, their space interpretation and space resolution is cruder than the phase array systems. And the phase array system can do it faster and can achieve higher resolution and can achieve a higher level of pixel resolution. So with the phase array system, definitely we'll be able to more accurately predict the spread of flooding and also distribution of rainfall and so on and so forth in various areas of Hong Kong. So you are saying that existing system can already give you certain time so that you can accurately predict flooding and rainfall in certain parts of Hong Kong. So with these 3 new radar sets and the $55 million being spent, does it mean that you can achieve pinpoint accuracy down to which street is going to be flooded, which street is going to be subject to heavy rainfall? Actually, the accuracy is going to come to 30 meters in terms of width. So in other words, we'll be able to more precisely predict the rainfall and flood situations with the 3 radar set system. We've still got 2 speakers in the first round. And then Madam Leung, I would like to ask a question in the second round. After we have exhausted all those questions, then we'll go to a vote, unless you press the questioning button in time. Now, concerning the use of $55 million for 3 phase area radar sets, this is to reduce economic losses and also to reduce losses suffered by the public from extreme weather. I think this is a worthy investment. I've got certain financial questions as well as technical questions so that we can understand the situation and the workings of Hong Kong more. Paragraphs 2 and 6 say that the Guangdong province already is operating 40 sets of phase area radars. Of course, Guangdong province has an area of 180,000 square kms. So if you distribute it by 40 sets, then each set is supposed to cover 4,000 square kms. So how is that kind of distribution ratio compared to Hong Kong's distribution ratio? Is it that we need so many more in terms of distribution density than Guangdong province because Hong Kong has very unique weather patterns? And also, you say that the lifespan of the equipment is 15 years. However, the system is going to come on stream only 2.5 years down the road in 2027 June. Now you can see that in such a waiting period of time, a smartphone can actually go out of date. I'd like to know when do you predict that the radar system is going to become obsolete, because just because it can still operate doesn't mean that it is up to date. And paragraph 16 of the paper says that 5 years after the radar has come into operation, the recurrent maintenance cost is going to increase from $900,000 to $1.8 million because of the purchase of certain accessories and parts and so on and so forth. I understand that, but I'd like to know whether Hong Kong O does possess in-house ability to maintain the system itself with in-house resources and in-house expertise, so that we don't have to resort to outside expertise and sources. Now, this is because supposed to be part of the GBA meteorological system network. So our system is supposed only to tie in with that instead of covering the entire Guangdong province. Of course, radar technologies are constantly being updated, and that is why when we procure the radar sets, we will procure the cutting-edge products. And at the same time, we are going to keep a very close watch over market developments so that in due course we can acquire the latest technology products to support Hong Kong's weather forecast. And within Hong Kong O, we already have a grade of officers that's known as radar system upkeep engineers. And so we do have in-house resources in order to do maintenance.
Mr. Michael Lok. Thank you, Chairman. The PARS system is a new technology. Is there any indicator for the accurate forecast of weather systems? By how much will the accuracy rate of the weather forecasting increase? I understand there are S, C, and X waves in relation to weather radar system. Which one will Hong Kong use primarily, or do we have all three kinds of waves? Coupled with the existing one, we are going to have three more. One is in Lafaoshan, the other in Shaolawan, one in Cheung Chau, and the other in Tung Lung Chau. It seems they are on the southern side of Hong Kong. In relation to the layout of these systems, what considerations does the department have? Why do we need 4 systems to cover the entire Hong Kong? Can we cover an area with 2 to 3, or will it improve the accuracy of the system? Thank you. I believe they will be taken by Dr. Chen. Thank you, Chairman. In relation to the indicator, I can only say that with the system we'll have faster scan and there will be a higher spatial temporal resolution. It's actually quite difficult to quantify the warning services. When we add more technologies or equipment to the system, there will be enhancements overall. And we do need to work more in order to improve the forecasting and warning services in relation to weather. There's much more to be done. That's exactly why we need to develop software. In relation to radar, it is the one with X band. For S band and C band, the Hong Kong OA has both of them. We'll continue to move towards using PORS network because of the faster scan. So we'll be able to obtain more data. Within the Hong Kong OA, there was ample discussion. Foil weather radar systems are the least requirement that can cover the entire territory of Hong Kong. We have a hilly topography. As I understand, for the X band, the longer band will allow the wave to go in a non-linear fashion. Actually, band X can help us identify nimbus stratus. So why don't we have a consolidated radar station or system while at the same time minimizing interference? Well, this is a rather technical question. I'll give the floor to Dr. Chen. In laboratory, I dare not say, but in relation to products, S band, C band, X bands, they are separated. They cannot function at the same time, according to what I observe. There's a new report published by the mainland in relation to new technology. Can we adopt state-of-the-art technology? There are military use that combine the use of 3 bands. You only need a tower for military purposes. Can we do the same with weather? You may want to explore this area. Well, Dr. Chan, you have already heard Mr. Michael Lok. You can explore this area. Thank you, Mr. Dennis Leung, second round. If no other members would like to speak after Mrs. Dennis Leung speaks, we'll proceed to a vote. Mr. Dennis Leung, 4 minutes. Thank you, Chairman. Ms. Carmen Khan followed me in the first round, but I have some follow-up. Just now I was asking about the price of the weather radar system. The Hong Kong O said that the cost could be reduced as a result of mass production. Ms. Carmen Khan asked why we have to wait until 2027 before we can see the system, but then the Undersecretary said that we'll have to place an order, we'll have to make arrangements. So do we have products right now? They have already been mass produced, or do we have to place an order as the Undersecretary said? Which version is the correct one? Undersecretary. Thank you. Manufacturers need time to manufacture radar. It takes someone time upon receipt of the order. Dr. Chen. Thank you, Chairman. Let me clarify. Mass production, I mean comparing with the situation a long time ago. They had to assemble different parts. Right now, we need to mass produce these products, but they still take time to be manufactured. It is not like we have different pieces of parts that can be put together. Well, Dr. Junis Ho, I allowed to ask once. Thank you, Mr. Ronak Chan, for your leadership. Purchasing weather radar systems help improve the infrastructures, safety, security, shipping, these areas in Hong Kong. I support it. I also commend the Undersecretary for working tirelessly on the research and study and answering my questions. I just wanted to record it. These are highly classified and sensitive equipment. We shouldn't use U.S. systems anymore. When we buy radar systems this time round, we must consider national security, and as a result, we must consider mainland manufactured equipment. We need to ensure compatibility of the systems between mainland and China. We need to ensure there is full compatibility between the two places. Without doubt, I'm all for it. I also want to enhance the efficiency as well as speed. If we can learn from the efficiency of the mainland, I don't think we'll have to wait until 2028 or 2029. Now that you say this is a matter of urgency, apart from enhancing speed and efficiency, I'll give you even a bigger round of applause if you can advance the commissioning of the system by 1 year or so. Undersecretary. Thank you, Chairman. We attach a lot of importance to national security in relation to requirements. Our country is in a leading position in relation to a porous network. We use the standard adopted by our country. In the tendering exercise, we'll incorporate national security provisions in order to ensure the security of our country. According to the market research conducted at the end of 2024, the majority of the tenders we received were from the mainland. They met the relevant requirements. When we award contracts, we will also put emphasis in this area. We'll make sure we will protect and safeguard national security. We will also try to enhance speed and efficiency in order to complete the tendering exercise. We hope with the assistance of different policy bureaus and departments, The Hong Kong O will quicken its pace in order to complete the tendering exercise as soon as possible. Thank you. No more members would like to speak. I'll now put FCR 2024-25-45 to a vote. For members who support this item, please raise your hand. Any member against this proposal? I believe the majority of the members support this proposal. I declare this proposal passed. The next meeting of the Finance Committee will be conducted on the 7th of February 2025. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, members.